How we doing, folks? We're right back. We're right back. We're in the swing of things. It's the Detroiter, Motor City, Mitten State. You know the deal at this point. I'm your host, Nick Bradley. I've forgotten this the last few episodes. I've realized we are sponsored by the Second String and the secondstring.com for all of your sportswear and streetwear apparel needs. We got you covered. Support local. Support someone you know. That's the pitch. You like cool shit? I got it for you. How's that sound? That's just right to the chase. Check that out. That's our sponsor. Hence, that's also the streetwear brand that I run. Maybe a conflict of interest, perhaps, but the SEC doesn't know that, so we'll keep this thing rolling. Not a ton of news in the Detroit world today or this week. And the news that there is, it's not great. It's not stuff that I would say I'm necessarily jazzed to talk about today. Thinking through it, we're going to keep the Lions off the docket because we've done so much of them. I could talk about the Detroit Lions every single day for an hour. What do you want to talk about? Anything, name it. The jerseys, let's talk about that for a month. We'll leave them off the docket today. We've been doing a ton of them. We'll leave them off, and I want to do some of the other NFL playoff stuff, so that'll be the football we do. We've got the Red Wings and where they stand with Dylan Larkin, kind of a bit of a crossroads, it seems. Dylan Larkin and his camp word on the street. They want 8 years, which I don't think is crazy. He's 26, $9 million about. Steve Yzerman wants him more around 8 AAV. So that feels pretty close off the rip, right? It's not 7 and 9. It's not 9 and 6. 8, 9, we can negotiate. 8.5, everybody goes home happy. I wouldn't hate that, but there is a little bit of a debate to be had. A, re-signing him. B, where do you cap it? And C, some of the people in the Red Wings community that are, doing the whole, well, you can't pay Dylan Larkin that much. He's a second-line center. No, you can't pay Dylan Larkin that much. He's never been a point-a-game player. No, you can't pay him, Dylan. He's not that good. There's a little bit of a debate, and I have an opinion on it that I would like to be heard. And I feel this is tough to say. I feel like everybody should feel this way, but hear me out. I want you to. We'll get to that. We got the Tigers. I saw an old picture of Tiger Stadium, 1971. Looked fucking beautiful. Corktown, Detroit. And I want to talk a little bit about getting rid of Tiger Stadium. Like, why the fuck did they do that? Why? Anybody in Detroit, answer the damn question. Why'd you do that? I really would like to know, honestly. Oh, there were a couple poles in the way. Dude, who fucking cares? And we'll talk a bit about the Pistons. They're bad. They're really bad. I don't want to talk about Wembanyama and Cade because I've done that a few times. But I want to talk just a little, like a tip of the cap to all the Pistons fans out there who are toughing this thing out. More power to you. God love you. And I hope your wife is nice to you because good fucking God, this team's 12-36. Bucks put up 50-49 in the first quarter last night. When does it get better? And how are you guys still hanging around for a Tuesday night against Milwaukee? I fucking bless you. It's incredible. So we'll get through all that, and then we'll move on to some NFL playoff stuff. Let's circle back to Larkin. I kind of made my contract area known. By the way, we're going to keep this segment like 15 minutes. I got some laundry in the wash. Got to go flip it. I'm sure my alarm will go off to remind me. Larkin, you kind of know where I'm at with the contract. Like, I think 8.5 is fair, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's fucking good. I understand that he's not McDavid and he's not McKinnon and he's not Artemi Panarin. I know he's not like the top shelf superstar. I understand. He's a really fucking good player. And I don't agree with the people who say he's only a second line center. You can't pay those guys like that. He's fucking a lot better than a 2C. You know it. You absolutely do. My plea to Red Wings fans who think that way and are like, yeah, he's not that good though. Remember those few games Dylan Larkin missed earlier this year? Remember how the team was kind of humming along before that? And then he missed like 3 games or something, 2.5. And they were horrible. Watch the Red Wings over the last couple of years when Dylan Larkin is on the ice or in the lineup versus when he isn't. The team hasn't been good. The team's bad as it is. The team's fucking not good as it is. And it's so much worse when Dylan Larkin's not out there. It's blinding. Like they're bad enough and at this point have gotten a couple other guys where it's like, all right, Larkin's out of the lineup. Lucas Raymond, Mo Sider, a couple of these guys, they can pull their weight. No, they can't. No, they can't. There is nobody this team misses more when they're out than Dylan Larkin. And I guess we haven't gone fucking knock on wood because Lord knows I can't take it. We haven't gone an extended stretch without Raymond or Mo Sider just yet. But I know when Dylan Larkin goes out, we look a lot fucking worse. And that's tough because we're bad to begin with. My other thing is even though he isn't a point a game player and he hasn't been, last year he was, I think, 3 or 4 off the pace. And this year I think he's 3 or 2, something. He's a couple off the pace this year, but he's fucking right there. He plays a great two-way game. He's great defensively. He's a great playmaker, and he can score. This last year and this year are really the first time since he was a rookie that he played with other guys who, like, you know, I hate to say it, but knew what they were doing. This is the first time these last couple of seasons where he's got other playmakers on his line. He doesn't have to always be the one to play the piano, to fucking shoot the piano, to carry the piano. What's that? Carry the piano and play the piano? He doesn't always have to be the one to do it now. Sometimes he can play it, sometimes he carries it, and he can do a little bit of both. It's not all on him, and you've seen the numbers reflect that. Yeah, it'd be great if he scored 100 points in a season. Fuck yeah, that'd be incredible. What I'm trying to say is the guy's only 26. This is his second season since he was 19, whenever he came into the league, that he's played with real talent. And by the way, that real talent is 22 or whatever he is, Mo Sider, and 21-year-old Lucas Raymond. Like, that real talent has a ways to fucking go as well. This is the first time he's played with actual other playmakers, other scorers, and his numbers are boosted. His numbers have been up since Lucas Raymond joined the Detroit Red Wings, since Mo Sider joined the team. That's a fact. That is a fact. Give those guys a couple more years. Give Dylan Larkin a couple more years. Again, 26, that's fucking nothing. The guy's a newborn. And let's see where it can go. I'm not guaranteeing that number is going to reach 100. I'm not saying, oh, pay him $10 million. No. But I'm just saying when you're like, oh, 8.5, that's too much. He's not that good. Let's think a little bit deeper about it here. Let's not just look at what he's done. Sure, that's fair. I understand. And that's why he's not going to get 9, 10, 11 million. But let's think about what could happen in the future. The amount of talent on the Detroit Red Wings is ideally only going to increase over the next 6 years, 7 years. Whatever his contract is, the talent around him is only going to get better. You put a great player like that with more great talent, everybody fucking eats. You think Boston, the production or perfection line, you think that was just an accident? Look who plays. Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak. That's 3 studs that all get to play together. They know where the goals are scored. They know how to get rid of the puck when they need to get rid of the puck. They know where the other guys are going to be. They can both pass or all pass. They can all score. They all play a good 200-foot game. Patrice Bergeron's probably the best in the NHL at it. It has been for years. Look at those guys. It's not Patrice Bergeron, I'm sure. If you threw him the fuck in the wasteland, I'm sure he'd be pretty good with them. The Arizona Coyotes, I'm sure he'd do all right. Absolutely. He's a great fucking player. He absolutely is benefiting from the Boston Bruins surrounding him with talent his entire career. Why not a little bit of a Dylan Larkin boost? Why not? Why not we get Edvinsson up here, another guy to get him the puck? Who knows? Maybe that's a couple more points. Why not Berggren comes into form a little more next year? Raymond comes into a little more form. Who knows? Marco Kasper makes an appearance at some point. Joe Veleno gets better. Maybe Phil Zadina figures it out coming off the injury. Who's to say? Who's to say that, all right, there's another 5. There's another 10 points for Dylan Larkin. Who's to say? We've seen the production boost already in just 2 years, 1.5 with Raymond and Sider. Who knows what's going to happen as this team is flooded with more and more talent as the years go by. And my last thing. At some point, if you're the Detroit Red Wings, you simply have to start harboring your talent. At some point, you have to start keeping guys. I get you don't want to give bad contracts, and you shouldn't. I trust Steve, and I do think he'll re-sign him, and there'll be a fine number. But at some point, guys, like, we got to keep good players. Are we going to just rebuild forever? I've seen some people go, trade Larkin, get a couple picks. One day, like, those picks need to be players. And at some point, if your GM's doing his job, which we all think Steve Yzerman has been, those players are going to want money. And if you want to be good, you got to give them the money. Like, that's how the fucking thing works. That's how it all works. We can't pass on every free agent just because he's not Connor McDavid. We can't let Dylan Larkin, oh, he's not McKinnon, let him go. For another pick that you hope is Dylan Larkin? Like, that's the entire thing. What's the best case scenario for that pick? Maybe you get lucky and win number 1 and win a Bedard like this year. Probably not, though. We've seen better than anybody. Probably not. you're hoping that that pick you got for Dylan Larkin becomes Dylan Larkin. And now you got to wait a couple more years for him to develop. Guess who else is a free agent? Now Lucas Raymond wants money. Now Mo Sider. Like, you need to just keep players and make an effort to be good and accumulate talent at some point. The contracts are going to get sticky. Tampa Bay did it. Steve Yzerman's brainchild. Tampa Bay fucking figured it out. They won a handful. At some point, Chicago did it. The Red Wings have done it. It's possible to do it. And at some point down the road, tougher decisions will come when Raymond wants money and Sider wants money and a third guy wants money. At someday, those decisions, those tougher ones will be made. But right now, he's the captain. He's been great. He's a good two-way player. He is a first-line center. He brings a toughness factor to the team that really nobody else outside of like Fabry, Bertuzzi, Mo Sider really bring. He's the captain. He's a hometown kid. At some point, the Red Wings need to retain good players. It's just the way the world works. I know it costs money, but do you want to win or do you want to lose forever? Plain and simple. Speaking of losing forever, the Pistons. Yeah, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people sit through the Pistons on a Tuesday night against Giannis getting absolutely smoked. I don't know how they have the stomach for it. It's pathetic, dude. It's pathetic. And I kind of wanted to bring this in. I don't want to be down, but I want to tie it into the Red Wings a little bit. Look at the Pistons. They've done the tanking thing, and they've got a couple assets. Katie's hurt. Ivy, Duran, Boyan. Like, they got a couple guys. Sadiq, Killian. We've got a couple pieces. Where are we? Where has that gotten us? Do you want the Red Wings to just flounder forever like the Pistons? I mean, it's been 13 years since the Detroit Pistons have been like really relevant, have actually had the ability to win a single playoff series. Do you really want the Red Wings to fall into that? Like, I don't know how people, I feel bad for people who like grew up diehard Pistons fans who still look forward to their games with these teams. I feel bad because how bad are they yearning for just fucking anything? Something a little interesting. One team that's slightly competitive. A couple guys who can make plays and win a few fucking basketball games. How bad do those people want that? And as a casual NBA fan, a casual Pistons fan, I'd like to see it. I'd love for a Saturday night ESPN matchup to be the Detroit Pistons and the Los Angeles Lakers. I'd love for that to be on at a bar. I'd love to have to tune in for a Pistons game because we absolutely need it. I say the same shit with the Red Wings. And I'm slipping on the Red Wings this season. I absolutely am because it's just been disappointing as of late. I know they won tonight, but it's just like you got to win at some point. You got to win. Like the Pistons, I don't know what the collective population of Pistons fans in the year 2010 was, but I got to believe it's a lot smaller now. Right? Like, I don't want that to happen to something else I love, something I truly do love. Because the Pistons fans that do it every night, I sit here and I'm like, thank God. Honestly, I feel bad saying that, but it's like, thank God. I don't mind if I miss a Pistons game. Like, 13 years these guys have been a joke, and they finally got a couple pieces. All I hear is how great Troy Weaver is, and they're still getting smacked around by Milwaukee. Still. It's fucking sad, dude. It's embarrassing. It's disappointing, and it legitimately makes me... I'm like, I fucking respect people that are still locked into the Pistons, still tweeting, still doing podcasts. Because I don't want to come out here and talk about the Pistons. I don't. What is there to talk about that isn't fucking depressing, dude? Isn't maddening? Isn't infuriating? The only good things are like, hey, we have these rookies. All right, Jalen Duren will be good in 4 years. All right, great. I know he's already pretty good. Jaden Ivey, he has his ups and downs. I know he shows potential. When do they win a little bit? Like, when do they not go 12-36? When are they 23-23? When's that happen? I could watch a few of those games. I wouldn't hate that. It sounds pretty interesting. When? I'm afraid. The Red Wings, it's like, we just saw it with the Tigers, and the Red Wings are like at this little cliff now where it's fucking, you got to go. You got to go eventually, and I don't want them to pull back. Larkin, you can walk, and here we go again. Let's hope, hey, the lottery balls. Let's hope. Fucking Bedard. Fingers crossed. I just don't want to go back down that road. Here's my alarm for the laundry. We'll do one more topic. Quick break, and then we'll finish up with some NFL playoffs. I saw a picture of the Tiger Stadium the other day. Scrolling through Twitter, 1971 Detroit. Must have been the summertime. Green grass as far as the eye can see. Beautiful neighborhoods and Tiger Stadium just in all of its glory. Why did we get rid of that? That's one of the biggest bummers, I think, of my Detroit sports fandom. Like growing up a Detroit fan, growing up in the area, never got to even see Tiger Stadium. Or if I did, I don't remember it. Never got to see it. I think Comerica opened in 2003. I don't know when they got rid of Tiger Stadium, but I was born in 97, so not great. Not a great window of opportunity there for me. And if I did, I definitely don't remember it. Why did we get rid of it? We could have had one of the legendary ballparks in the game. You think about Wrigley, you think about Fenway, obviously great cities, obviously historic cities, a lot of baseball history. But what makes those parks so fucking special? They were built in 1912. Fenway and Tiger Stadium opened on the same day. It could be Wrigley, it could be Fenway, and it could be Tiger Stadium. We could have a cathedral to the game of baseball. And Detroit's a city that deserves that. We are a historic fucking like blood and soul of America town. We're a city that you go there and you're like, wow, that's fucking cool that Detroit has one. Like, it makes sense for Detroit to have one. We opened the same day as Fenway. And when it came time in the 70s or the 80s, whenever they made that decision, people were like, you know what? No, fuck it. Get rid of it. You know how much tourism Fenway brings in? You know how many people from out of town go to Wrigley Field just to say they went to Wrigley? Oh, but there was obstructions. Oh, there were a couple poles in the way. Give me a fucking break. That's not the point. There's 162 games, dude. Go catch another one and don't sit behind the pole. You know where you're buying the tickets. Plus, they got TVs everywhere. They make it work. Don't let a structural engineer in 1912's failure to realize, 18 people won't be able to see this little fraction of the outfield if we put this pole here. Don't let that structural necessity at the time be the reason you get rid of a historical landmark. Don't let that be the reason you get rid of a fucking treasure to a city that is filled with treasures that people don't know about. And that's one of the ones. That's something that brings people to Detroit. And then they get to Detroit and they're like, fucking Detroit's cool, dude. They got this sweet-ass stadium, the downtown. They got Motown, the museum. They got all this great food. The people here are fucking awesome on the river. We really said no to that. And I like Comerica. I think Comerica today is a pretty underrated ballpark, to be quite honest. Probably a little bias in there, but it's in a cool location. Our skyline is fucking sick. I think it's a nice park. There's tiger statues all around the outside. Very cool. It's in a cool spot downtown. I think Comerica is pretty great. No doubt, but it's not Tiger Stadium. And think about your life, your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents, whoever. Whenever you talk to someone about, hey, Tiger Stadium, what was that like? Anytime you talk to anybody, what do they say? Unreal. I fucking loved going to Tiger Stadium to watch a ball game. Tiger Stadium was special. I've never heard anybody say Tiger Stadium sucked. I've never once heard that. All you hear is, man, something about Tiger Stadium. The double deck, it was unique. Corktown, even though downtown where Comerica's cool, that Corktown location, Michigan and Trumbull, that was a cool spot too. That'd be kind of nice. It's a little Wrigley-esque, right? Out in the neighborhoods a little bit. Another thing, fucking neighborhoods there, businesses there, they'd be loving it. They'd be loving it. It would create like a separate part of town. It would do the Wrigley thing. And then now, when people do their ballpark tours, when we talk about legendary venues of the game, it wouldn't just be Fenway, Wrigley Field, and there are some sick newer ones. Petco here is unreal. Dodger Stadium in LA was cool. Tiger Stadium would be one of those. It would be an objective for baseball fans. Like, I got to go there one day. And they got rid of it? Oh, just a bummer. It's a fucking bummer. And it's a bummer when you know they could have kept it. Wrigley's still there. Fenway hasn't collapsed. It's a bummer when you know they could have done it. Well, here's the Tiger Stadium. All right, let me take a quick break, and we'll talk some NFL playoffs. All right, weekend 2 of the NFL playoffs, not as strong as weekend 1. I think that's fair to say, coming right off the rip. Still fun, still some good games. Jags, Chiefs was pretty exciting, right? Pat Mahomes' ankle gets turned to fucking dust. Can Trevor Lawrence and the boys do it? They couldn't. Spoiler, they could not. But pretty fun game. Cowboys-Niners, a little bit of a shitter, but it was close, and Dak Prescott just did not want to win that game. Threw 2 picks. It felt like he should have thrown at least 10. Like, it felt like a third of the time he threw the ball, it was just right to a 49er. And you're going, Dak, dude, he wasn't hidden by the ref. You didn't get hit. That guy's standing there the whole play, Dak. He was standing there the whole play. Not great from Dak. And then the last play at the end, hey, Zeke, why don't you take one for the team, even though this is going nowhere, and we'll throw a 6-yard hitch. Maybe that'll get us to the end zone. questionable stuff from the Cowboys, but I think that's fair. Nobody really expected the Cowboys to win that game going in. I think I said last week, it'll be closer than people expect. I don't know exactly what the spread was, but a touchdown, like, that feels right. San Francisco's better. Their defense is better. Their run game's better. Brock Purdy doesn't make mistakes like Dak Prescott does. And I'm sure if they had a last play they had to go 80 yards with, it would have been better. So they deserved that win, and they got it. Eagles-Giants, kind of a bummer, right? Just a massacre. Like, that game sucked. Divisional game at the Link. Third time. Daniel Jones is hot. Saquon's feeling himself. How about the Giants? Brian Dable, what a job he's done. Ooh, they got steamrolled, but good for them. They won the wild card game. You know, they weren't, again, same deal as the Cowboys. Like, nobody was really picking you to win that game. We had the storylines, tough to beat a team 3 times. They know each other so well. They're divisional rivals. Daniel Jones, he might not be the most talented quarterback in the playoffs, but man, he's been hot as of late, hasn't he? Kind of these is like, hey, let's drum up the Giants. Let's make this one interesting. And it wasn't. The Eagles killed them. The Eagles do what they did to most teams. They ran the ball down their face. Jalen Hurts was elite. Again, their defense was great. And the crowd got going. Nick Sirianni fucking shadowboxing himself. They killed him. And as we kind of expected him to. And then the last game, probably the most surprising game of the weekend. The one I think most people were looking forward to, Bills-Bengals. Snowy Buffalo. Damar Hamlin in the building, depending on what you believe. And they dropped a fucking egg. That was a tough performance. That was a tough performance on a lot of levels. We'll start with this game because I think this one is the most interesting. As funny as the Cowboys was, you know, Pat Mahomes and his ankle in that game against the Jags. There's a couple storylines, but this Bengals-Bills, I certainly didn't expect, A, the Bengals to win, but B, the way that they did. Like, that game never even felt like the Bills were in it, which is crazy to say. 17 points. It's not a total blowout for the playoffs, and you're at home. That's not really a great result. That's not a close game necessarily. But the Bengals, there was not a millisecond of that game where I was like, oh, shit. Maybe right off the beginning. Maybe right at the beginning. I think Buffalo scored first. And it was like, here we go. Let's fucking see it, Buffalo. Snow's coming down. The 4 falls. They got so close last year, lost to the Chiefs in that thriller. This is their year. They've got the inspiration with Damar Hamlin, and they just fell on their fucking face. It was tough to watch. As a fan of another starved fan base, not that Cincinnati isn't, this was kind of the battle of the starved fan bases, but as a fan of the Lions, I right there, Buffalo. Now, I can't say I've been in that position. I've never seen the Lions win a single playoff game, let alone win their division and get to this point. So, no, I haven't been in that position. But I can take a little bit of a microcosm of it. Like losing that Panthers game, fucking cut deep. Losing in the playoffs in 15, that cut deep. Like losing in 13 to the Cowboys, that cut deep. This one was different, I think, for Buffalo because, like I said, that Chiefs game last year, they were so fucking close and they had the overtime rule. And then this year they were better. Josh Allen's coming into form. Like we said, Damar Hamlin. Now they have home field. Like, holy shit, here we go, Buffalo. If they play the Chiefs, it's going to be at Atlanta. This is their year. This is Buffalo's chance. This is the time they get over the hump. They have the history with the 4 falls. It's such a football fucking place. Like, people love it. Bills Mafia, world famous. I mentioned it last week that the storyline aspect of football was shaping up for this to be a Buffalo win, right? Like, everything felt like it was going that way. Forget the football. Forget who they're playing against. Forget the fact that Joe Burrow's the coldest motherfucker on the planet. Forget all that. It felt like no matter who you put in Buffalo's way, like this was their time. This was the year they were going to get over the hump. This was the year they were going to go to Arrowhead or go to Atlanta, wherever the hell, and they were going to beat the Chiefs, and they were going to go to the Super Bowl. This was the redemption time. Now, there is still time. Josh Allen's still young. Stephon Diggs, even though he threw a temper tantrum at the end, he's still young. It's just, it's a depressing fucking loss. It is. And again, as a guy I'm not a Buffalo fan. I'm from Michigan. As a Lions fan, though, I could fucking feel that thing in my chest, like, not like this. You know what I'm saying? Lose the Cincy, fair enough. They're a great team, too. There's a reason they made the Super Bowl last year. Everybody knows Joe Burrow and those wide receivers. But it was the run game that did you in. Your offense, which you've leaned on all year long, they couldn't get anything going. The snow, like, that's Buffalo football. Like, that's you. That snow was for you guys. I know it gets cold in Cincy, but it's not like Buffalo. And they just they never showed up. They never even walked in the door. They never put the pads on. They never got going at all. And Joe Burrow, being the player that he is, he played pretty mistake-free football. He converted on third down when you needed it. The run game for Cincinnati was unstoppable, which I get. I guess I get the mentality if you're Buffalo of like, all right, let's not let Burrow and these wideouts beat us, but you can't just let him hand it off every play. I mean, it's a lot harder to complete a 15-yard pass than it is to turn around and give it to a guy for 8. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point when it's evident that, I know we don't want Burrow to beat us, but this run game's doing something that Joe Burrow never could. Maybe you transition a little bit. Maybe you switch it up, make an adjustment. Let's make them throw it. Let's see what they got. Now, the defense for Buffalo, I'm not saying that's the reason they lost, because when your offense comes out the way they did and only puts up 10 in that game, and the best defense is a good offense, right? Like, keeping Joe Burrow off the field is the best way to make sure he doesn't score. When your offense, who you've relied on, and the offense is the unit with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and all this star power, and they don't do anything for you, that's tough to stomach. That is. So that game was kind of a bummer, just not being close. I was expecting that one to be the Super Bowl, to be honest. I was expecting a thriller. I was expecting to finish that Buffalo-Cincy game going, yeah, that was worth it. That was the best game I've watched this year. Fuck yeah. I love Buffalo. I love Cincinnati. I'm salty one of them had to lose, but that was a great 3 hours of my time. That's how I expected to leave it, and I left it like, yeah, fuck. Like, Josh Allen's got to be in a shitty mood right now. Josh Allen can't be feeling great. And that's the interesting thing now, right? Like, people coming on ESPN, all the big talking heads going, Josh Allen, is he that guy? Do you pay Josh Allen now? Can he be in the same conversation as Mahomes and Burrow? Is Josh Allen, is he a little overrated? Look, I know Josh Allen didn't play his best, but I think it's fair to say nobody on that Buffalo offense did. I'm sure their coaching staff didn't do the best job. Josh Allen, I still think, is an elite talent. I still think Josh Allen can win you a Super Bowl. I think he will win a Super Bowl. I think he's too good not to. Now, I don't really know what's going on with Buffalo as far as who they got to re-sign and what the cap situation looks like. I don't know. So they could be fucked. I have no idea. It could be a Rams. I got no clue. But I do know I believe in Josh Allen. I do know he's a very, 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 very good quarterback. He's better than like 95% of them. And that might be pushing it. Shit happens, dude. Sometimes you don't have your A game, and it sucks when you don't have your A game and it's win or go home. And it's in Buffalo. And it's kind of a guy that's running alongside you, Joe Burrow. It's all these young QBs in the AFC that are going nowhere, that just got here. And they're dominant. They're the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And it's like, who's going to beat who this year? Who's going to take the throne this year? And everybody's eyes are on you. I would imagine that was the most watched game of the weekend. Everybody's watching. Everybody wants to see, is this Josh Allen going to deliver? People like me, fans of Detroit, fans of Minnesota, fans of whoever are going, let's see what Josh Allen's all about. I see the highlights. I know he produces in fantasy. I know Buffalo's been good. Let's fucking see it. Big stage. I'm watching. Let's see what he's got. And he just flubbed. He just, nothing. Nothing. And then to cap it off with your star wideout, who's kind of known for being a bit of a diva, and Stephon Diggs just throwing the tantrum at you, and Josh Allen just stone-faced fucking ignore the fuck. No, I'm not saying shit. I'm sure probably wouldn't have helped if he started chirping back, but that's a tough visual to go along with it. It's a tough one. Tough one for Buffalo. I feel for the team. I feel for Josh Allen. And most of all, I feel for those fans. I mean, to go what they've been through already with the 4 falls and then last year's season and this year, they probably were feeling it. Listen, if I was feeling like this is Buffalo's year, man, it's all shaping up. It's all Bills all the way. This is it. If I was feeling that way, can you imagine what the people of Buffalo were? The people who watched them play 17 times this year and 17 times the year before that, can you imagine what they were feeling? No way Joe Burrow comes in here and wins this game. No shot we're losing this. We got a fucking juggernaut. I know, since he's good, no way. I got to believe that's how they were feeling. And to just never have a chance, it felt like. Never even be close. Never even give you a fight. How many times did the people in Ralph Wilson Stadium get on their feet? If you bought a ticket to that game, I'm sure it cost your kids tuition. How many times did you raise your voice? How many times did you smile? How many high fives did you even get to give? That shit is fucking gut punching. That's the type of stuff that has you in bed till Tuesday. that kind of loss. It was painful to watch. It really was. As far as the rest of the playoffs, this Pat Mahomes ankle, we'll see. He looked fucked up. I got to say, I'm pretty surprised he kept playing. I understand, like, you got to win. Trevor Lawrence is pretty dangerous. I'm the biggest keep the foot on the gas guy that there is. But that guy's ankle was hanging on by a wet piece of spaghetti, dude. That guy was hobbling around. He was trying to throw. He would get hit and get up. He would, like, try to run a little bit. And I was like, dude, you look like a donkey that got shot in the leg. Are we sure we want to, like, press on? I don't know if he sprained it or what the injury is, but are we fucking sure? Chad Henne, look, nobody wants to put their backup in the playoffs. The guy's been in the league for 40 fucking years. If anybody knows what they're doing, it's got to be Chad. Wasn't there maybe last playoffs or the year before? Didn't Chad Henne have to go in or maybe even started a game and win one for KC? That ankle was fucking ugly, dude. But he played through it. Did what he had to do, and they got the win, and they're moving on, and they're going to host Cincinnati at Arrowhead, which is sure to be just an electric football game. I mean, this is going to be the same as the Bills-Cincy game. Fucking Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, two of the nicest offensive units, duking it out, iconic venue, the AFC Invitational at Arrowhead. This is going to be fucking nasty, dude. That game's going to be electric. And I hope to God Pat Mahomes' ankle's at full percent because I don't want to see bum Pat Mahomes against Joe Burrow. I don't want to see Bilbo Mahomes. You know what I mean? I don't want this dude to need a fucking cane to get into the locker room at halftime and have that be the Mahomes that Joe Burrow beats. If Joe Burrow's going to do it, if this is their fucking year and they're going to get over the hump and they're going to win the whole thing, I want Joe Burrow to beat the best. I want it to be top-notch Cincy and top-notch KC. I want to see fucking Zeus and Poseidon throw tridents and lightning bolts at each other. I don't want to see a lightning bolt that fizzles out and it's just a light sprinkle. No, dude, a trident's going to blast right through that. Are you kidding me? You think a little rain cloud's going to stop a trident from Poseidon? He's the iciest motherfucker in the game, dude. He's throwing warm-ups, doing 360s, chiefing cigars. No looking Chris Collinsworth. This guy doesn't give a fuck. I need Mahomes at his A game. I have to have it. NFL fans, we got to have it. This is why we love the playoffs. This is why the NFL playoffs are so great. It's cold. It means everything. Can't make mistakes. And it's the best against the fucking best. There is no Pat Mahomes squaring off against Brock Osweiler. There's none of that shit. It is Pat Mahomes. It is Joe Burrow. It is two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. They're both under, 25 years old. Let's get that. This might be a preview for the next 10 years of the AFC Championship. Let's get down to fucking business. I don't want to hear about an ankle. It's twisted. He had the cortisone shots. He can barely run. Get this guy going. And maybe he was too far gone. Look, I'm not a pro trainer. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'll be the first to tell you that. So maybe he was too far gone. They were like, your shit's fucked up. You're going to be hurting next week anyway. Do you want to play the rest of this one or not? Maybe that was the case. And I know there was the one clip of Mahomes on the sidelines where he was yelling like, fuck no. I think they were probably asking him, yo, dude, we got to check this out. And he was like, fuck no. Fuck no. He was yelling fuck no at somebody. So maybe, they were like, hey, Pat, I don't really know if you should keep doing this. And he was like, fuck out of here. I'm playing. With respect to Pat Mahomes. Respect either way. Playing when your shit hurts is not fun. I just, not to put myself on the level of Pat Mahomes, but I tweaked my knee a little bit. Playing pickup basketball the other day. Going up and down stairs is a little bit challenging. I would not want to make Sam Hubbard miss in the pocket. You know what I mean? I don't want to take off for a first down and get fucking leveled by somebody. I don't need to be letting a pass go and have my ankle falling on. I can barely bring the groceries up. Tweaked my knee a little bit. So respect to Pat Mahomes. All these guys are playing banged up. Football's crazy. Every time I watch, I'm like, why did I do this? This is nuts. As far as the NFC, I didn't think the Niners were that great. The Cowboys were so fucking bad, and they still were in there. They still were in that game, and then they were terrible. Dak was horrible. The offense was terrible. Brett Maher doing Brett Maher things. I didn't think the Niners were anything great. I didn't think Purdy was anything great. I didn't think the run game was anything great. Their defense is pretty lethal, no doubt. But again, Dallas was not like fucking putting up much of a fight offensively. Nick Bosa, it's easy to look good when Dak Prescott is fucking jittering back there, just waiting to throw the ball to someone in red. You know what I mean? I think the Eagles are going to win the NFC. I think the Eagles might win the whole thing, dude. They're insane. Oh, yeah. A little bit of water there for those of you listening. Yeah, I don't see how the Eagles lose this NFC championship, though. They're absurd. Their offense, the fact that their offense is what it is and they have a sweet defense, because the Niners, they got the defense, right? They've got the run game and they've got the toys, but Brock Purdy, he's been good, but Brock Purdy isn't elite. Brock Purdy isn't Mahomes. He's not Burrow and he's not Hurts. He's not. Plain and simple. He does what he needs to do and he gets the job done. He makes plays here and there, no doubt. I don't want to make it seem like he's garbage or anything. He makes some plays, but Brock Purdy isn't why the Niners are the way they are. The Niners are the Niners because their defense gets after you. And absolutely, Philly's going to have some trouble. That Niners defense isn't the Giants defense. Jalen Hurts will have to make some more throws under pressure. He'll be gotten after by Nick Bosa on that line. The run game will see more resistance than it's used to for sure. But they're fucking special, dude. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelce at the centerman. That guy's a fucking freak offensive lineman. And they got the defense to boot. The way I see this NFC Championship, it's two elite defenses, two good offenses, one elite offense, and one fucking game-breaking quarterback. The way that they can attack you with that read option and then also just run it with the running back and then also just kill you through the air, it's not like he's throwing to Chris Hogan's. A.J. Brown is a menace. You can't guard him one-on-one. Devontae Smith is a gazelle. You can't guard him one-on-one. Who do you stop? What do you stop? Because I saw it with the Lions. Granted, it was week one, long-ass time ago. But, dude, you commit to the pass, well, here comes the run game. You commit to the run game, here comes the pass. You commit to both, oh, well, here's a read option. You got nobody home. That's 10 yards for Jalen Hurts. And, by the way, he doesn't get touched. It's impossible. It's like a fucking 20-headed monster. Who do you stop? And right when you do, here comes something else that you can't. I just don't see how they lose. I think they'll win the Super Bowl, to be honest. And I'm sure, that's a square pick. At this point, they looked by far the best of the four remaining teams. Cincy, you could make the argument for sure. Really impressive what they did, obviously. But, dude, the Eagles are fucking nasty. That offense is disgusting. Joe Burrow's offensive line still kind of stinks, even though he's really good. I think the Eagles beat the Niners. I think that it's tough to say. If Mahomes is full health, I think the Chiefs probably get it done. I just don't know if Joe Burrow's got that shit in him. Did they beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead when they went to the Super Bowl last year? I can't remember. But I don't know. If they did, then my bad. Joe Burrow does have that in him. I just don't know this time around. Arrowhead, the Chiefs have been out of it for a little while. Like, I know they had that one, and everyone goes, they're going to win the next 20 Super Bowls. It's been a little bit since we've seen the Chiefs at the mountaintop. I'm sure they're pretty hungry. They know Travis Kelce, Pat Mahomes. They got guys making a lot of money. Shit doesn't last forever. I bet they're going to be pushing. Arrowhead's going to be bananas. Emotional win on the road at Buffalo last week for Cincy. Do they have another one in them? Do they? I don't know. I think the Chiefs get it done. I think the Eagles get it done. And I think the Eagles win the Super Bowl. I think the Eagles are just too complete. I think the Eagles attack you too many ways. I think the Eagles' defense is fucking very, very good. Like the Bengals, great offense. Their defense is good, but I don't think it's super scary. Chiefs, their defense gets the job done. Don't think it's super scary. Eagles' defense scares me. If I'm an offense, that Eagle, I don't want to see a fucking any part of the Eagles' defense. And they're killer on the offensive side. That's scary shit. But either way, I'm excited for more playoffs. I love football, as you know. It's the fucking best, dude. The NFL playoffs rule. And that's all I got today. We'll be back. Georgia fans, new design out, thesecondstring.com. If you have friends from Georgia, you have Bulldog fans, kids from high school went to school there, let them know thesecondstring.com, back-to-back champs design. It's unbelievable. I'm a steak guy, but the design is so gas. I've thought about just like, dude, I might just, why not rock it to the bar? I didn't go to Georgia, but it's a sick shirt, dude. It's fucking streetwear. Who gives a fuck? Check it out. Thesecondstring.com. That's all I got today. I'll be back Friday. Have a great week.